Okay, this will be the third attempt. The first time I didn't like it, so I deleted it, and the second time I accidentally deleted it because I tried to have multiple videos on my camera and then go downstairs and upload them all, but I accidentally deleted that video, or this one. Also, that's why I ranted in the last video, because I thought the video was going to cut out at any second, and it didn't, because I ended up having more time. Anyway, I always like to think of how I can defend viewpoints that I disagree with if I was them. And I forgot to look up Berkman Center person again. I'll mention him in the title and the description. And it was in a very recent video. But yes, it was basically George Lakoff and Berkman Center guy. Both have the same kind of ideas. I think I'm going to sit up in my videos now, so... Anyway, yeah. The basic viewpoint, everyone has frameworks, and these frameworks mess up what people believe. It causes them to, not see truth and reality, not accept scientific fact. They have goggles on, it keeps them from seeing the truth. And their view is that conservatives have these goggles on, and it causes them to say dumb things. And before anyone thinks that I'm a conservative, this is the book I was reading today. It's a good book. Recommend it. The only problem, though, is you don't really learn much about communism with this book. Not really. It's like a pamphlet, really. It's a very, very brief introduction. You really have to read the other books. Anyway, yes. My point is with this meta-narratives, my point in my last video, which I'm sorry if I was a little emotional in the last video. I've been going through some rough stuff, and when I make angry videos I tend to swear, so sorry about that. But yes, I now kind of see where Lakoff and Berkman Center guy were going with their view. My point is how do they know that they are not also stuck in these frames of mind, these meta-narratives, as I call them. Or actually other people call them, I stole the word. Anyway, so how do they know that they themselves aren't, trapped in these goggles, and that they themselves don't hold crazy ideas because of their own frames? And that is why George Lakoff and Berkman Center guy would seem less jerky, and I think their positions would be much stronger, make much more sense if, hold on, let me make sure they're not upside down, they went all postmodern up in this hizzle. I don't know what those words mean. I rap words. You don't have to know what they mean. You just say them. Yeah. Foucault is actually my favorite of these two. Cool guy. He's the more moderate of the two, so maybe that's what Foucault is a bit easier to swallow pill than Balderaldi. Balderaldi is a more hardcore mofo postmodern. He's a more hardcore mofo, whatever. Basically, my point is that Lakoff and Berkman Center guy, what they should have done is, at the end of their argument, to counter my claim, or other people who think the same way, that they are also stuck in their own frames of mind, and that they are not very credible, because a conservative could just say the same thing about them too, that they're stuck in the liberal frame of mind, and that's causing them to not see the truth and not see science, is to reject frames of mind, reject meta-narratives, because I think that's what they were referring to. Lakoff and Berkman Center guy were talking about how, I'm not going to use their words, I'm going to use POMO words, that conservatives have a meta-narrative, about how the world works, and this meta-narrative gets in the way of them seeing the truth. They should try to fight meta-narratives themselves, rather than, as Lakoff says, fight for the liberal meta-narrative and use emotional trickery and sophistry to sneak in the liberal progressive meta-narrative and the conservatives. They should fight the meta-narratives, because this is the only way they can make sure that they do not have the contradiction that I spoke of in my last video, and that they may become closer to whatever the truth is, whatever you want to think of the truth. Because, of course, truth is not simple. Truth is complicated. when I say by truth it's complicated, I don't mean there's no objective truth, because that happens a lot. If someone who doesn't understand philosophy, you try to explain to them that truth is a lot more than just here's a thing, it's a thing. You try to explain it's complicated. They often think that you are a pomo. You're just a pomo. But there is a in between Balderaldi pomoism and naive realism of here's a thing, there's the thing, I know it's a thing, thingitude. And that's why but there's also a danger in my theory. I have to point out, and I don't know if there really is a solution to it. And my analogy is going to be in, yes it is, The Matrix Reloaded. Yes, Reloaded. Actually, it's not just the movie alone, it's the whole trilogy makes the analogy. And that is that Neo, Mr. Anderson, starts in the meta-narrative of a very bland meta-narrative that normal people have. So you can say it's a conservative one or just a vanilla Democrat one, but he's in the meta-narrative and he realizes that it's wrong, and in a way, and is trying to escape the meta-narrative into the desert of the real to find the real, whatever that is. They never leave the Matrix. Zion is the Matrix. It's still a part of the Matrix. Proof for this, in the book, it explicitly says that Matrix characters never leave the Matrix. And in the movie, when he's able to use his Matrix powers outside of the Matrix, it's because they never leave it. And that's the analogy is that I think we should really try to escape meta-narratives as much as we can. Sorry, my throat dry. But we can't entirely escape them. We're still going to be stuck with them because we need them. They're like guideposts. We need a bits of ideology, bits of meta-narratives, bits of frames, bits of goggles to understand the world. So I guess in a Matrix example is we can never entirely solve the problems of frames, of meta-narratives. We can never be totally rational in understanding truth and reality, because truth and reality is complicated. So really, that's how I think Zimmerman, that's how George Lakoff and Berkman Center guy should have really ended it. That's really where they should have gone, to attack frames, the entire system of frames, rather than just arguing for your frame, because your frame is better than the other guy's frame, because his guy's frame is dumb, my frame is good. When really, if you understand Lakoff's argument, then he's still enslaved by his own frame, even though those other guys he doesn't like, the conservatives, are enslaved by their frames. So yeah, that I guess this is my first pomo video, postmodernist video. One last note, I've always wanted to say it. There was a big argument between Mr. Cropper, an objectivist, and some pomos about pomos in college. Postmodernists are not at all popular in college, in philosophy departments. So you were wrong, Cropper, this time. It was an issue that happened a long time ago. But yeah, that's my point. Fight the frames, fight the meta-narrative as much as you can. You can never win. But Lakoff does not take the fight where it needs to go in the end. Neither does Berkman Center guy. They both fall into their own meta-narratives. Alright, thank you, bye.